We're live streaming to the Facebook group. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started with Q&A. Frankie, I see you're eating lunch. Sorry to catch you off guard, man.
All right, questions. So last time me and you talked, Sal, we were just going through my script, trying to refine the process. And the only thing I'm kind of having, not a hiccup, but something I'm trying to figure out how to price out properly is the paint correction side. So when I'm coming down and I'm like, all right, you know, you want the $8.99 3-year with a paint enhancement and a decon, but it needs a little bit more than that. So just trying to figure out, you know, like what are you guys doing? You're coming up with like you doing it per panel, like saying, man, you know, or are you just doing a full 2-step on the entire car? Like, are you charging per hour? Or are you just like another extra couple $100, you know, and I'll make sure all the scratches and everything are gone? Like, how are you guys kind of doing that?
Hello, man. This is all you. I know that your packaging looks really good.
So whenever it comes to this, let me ask you this. Are the clients, are they at your shop whenever you're giving them the price and looking at the vehicle and determining that the vehicle needs more than a paint enhancement? Or is this over the phone?
Right. So mostly it's over the phone.
Okay, great. So what I would do, man, is get them. The thing is you want to get the yes, you want to get the deposit, and then you want to get them to your shop. So if they're good at $8.99, great, lock them in, and then just let them know once we get here, we'll go over everything about the coating and what it's all going to look like whenever you're here and I can actually see the vehicle. Whenever they get there, you got two options. You either just tell them, hey, based on the package that you're signed up on, this is a paint enhancement. You know, if you're not looking for paint perfection, then we can stick with that and it'll take out 40% of what you got going on. And then we'll apply the coating. It'll look great, add a lot of pop, a lot of gloss. But just to set your expectations correctly, this isn't going to be a mirror finish. And all of the swirls or scratches that I'm seeing here are not going to come out. So, or you could take a little bit different approach and you could tell them, hey, we got you signed up for a paint enhancement. How about you hang out for 2 seconds? I'm going to pull the vehicle in. I'll do a test spot and I'll show you what the result's going to be. If you're happy with that, then we stick with that. And then right next to it, you could do a quick small spot of a 2-step correction and say, hey, usually this package would be $1,500. But since you're already here, if you want this result, you're already locked in at $900 for this one. I'll go ahead and do it for $1,250 if you just want to go ahead and do the 2-step. So they're getting a $250 discount. They're already there. They see your shop. They see everything's legit. Now they're more likely to spend a little bit more money than whereas they were a little bit hesitant. You closed them over the phone for almost $1,000. Whereas now they're in your shop. They see you. You give them a little demonstration and they can see the result versus 1-step paint enhancement or 2-step full correction. And then it's up to them whether they want to spend the more money or not. Whereas it's a little bit harder over the phone to talk to somebody who doesn't know exactly what the paint is, what it's going to look like, 2-step, 1-step. But when they're there, they can see exactly what you're talking about and see the result. This happened to me yesterday. Guy came in, F-150, black. He washes it every day. I think he's like a private investigator. And I mean, the truck was hammered with swirls. And I told him, I said, look, man, you're at $900, paint enhancement, 3-year coating. All of these swirls from the car wash are not coming out. He's like, well, I really want them all out. I'm like, look, it'll be $1,500 if you want it all out. Let me pull it in and show you what it would at least look like based on how much clear coat you have on the vehicle. Pulled it in, did a test spot. After he saw the paint enhancement, he's like, actually, I don't really need the 2-step because I'm still going to wash the car how I do now. And I'm like, all right, whatever you want to do. So he didn't go with the 2-step, but it at least gave him the opportunity to see what the difference is rather than trying to sell it to him over the phone. So over the phone for me, it's get the yes, get the deposit. Once they're in the shop, then upgrade, upsell. Do you want to add the window ceramic coating? Do you want to do the rims? Do you want to do an interior? Usually it's $300, but since you're here, I'll knock out the interior for an extra $100. Like whatever it is that you want to upsell, the goal is get them to the shop first as a paying customer, then upcharge.
Okay.
I
All right,
love
makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
Khalil, just to kind of double click on that, when you are setting that expectation for the package that they're interested in on the phone call, how do you go about setting that expectation if it's an entry level or a mid-tier package?
So I asked a couple of questions. One is, are you familiar with what a ceramic coating does? If they say no, I have a 50-second video that I send to them that explains it. Then once they say, yep, that sounds exactly like what I'm looking for, I'll get an idea of their paint condition. Hey, what is it? Can you see swirls? Can you see scratches? In direct sunlight, what does it look like? And if they say no, they can't see any swirls, 9 times out of 10, it's because they either don't know what it is, or they're not detailers, so they don't see that as swirling or scratches, and they think their paint's in excellent condition. So then I just let that ride, because I don't want to build resistance. I sell them on the protection and the maintenance, ease of maintenance, not on the paint perfection. Once they're in the shop, then I go for the paint perfection. So whenever they're on the phone, it's all about the coating being protection, ease of maintenance, very high gloss, high shine. The car's going to look amazing, going to look showroom condition, because even a car off the showroom is not perfect paint. Then whenever they come in, it's a little bit more of a harsher expectation setting, depending on what the vehicle looks like. If the vehicle's in great shape, not a lot of swirling, that one-step correction is going to do wonders for that vehicle. But if it's hammered and it needs 2 or 3 steps, then I talk to them and just let them know, hey, you're on this package. This is a really good paint protection package. How do you plan to wash the vehicle once you're done with this? If they say, oh, I'm only going to hand wash it, I'll say, cool. Do you want all the swirls out, or you're good with, this 30-40% paint enhancement? And if they say, nope, I'm good with that, just in case I got to run it through the wash, whatever. But for the most part, I'm selling them on paint protection, ease of maintenance, and the benefits of them having it on the phone. Once they're in the shop, then we talk about paint perfection and the finish and what they want to achieve.
Okay.
And then
So
you
so
go, go ahead, Frank.
So you set all the expectations when you're with them.
Yep, when I'm with them. And then if they want to back out and they say, hey, this isn't what I was expecting. I was expecting this, that, and the third, whatever. No worries at all. I haven't done any work on the vehicle yet. You don't have to leave it with me. You can take it. You don't have to leave the vehicle with me. And that's never happened, by the way. Never happened. Nobody's ever came and I set the expectation and they're like, you know what? I'm going to leave. Okay. Believe me, when they came to pick up, they weren't going to be happy either way. So leave. But it's never happened because people, they like the transparency. They like the fact that I'm setting the expectation and I'm not promising them the world. When people start promising the world and it's going to look amazing and yada, 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 I'm going to put the ceramic coating on the inside of the windshield. Like, it just gets squirrely. And then the people are like, this person's a little bit too over the top with it. And I don't think I'm going to get what I want. Whereas if you give them realistic expectations, they'll be way happier at the end. If it's over the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And say you get somebody on the phone, they're saying, hey, my car is in perfect paint condition, right? There's not a single scratch or swirl mark. And we obviously know that's almost always not the case, right? Just because there's that disconnect from what they think it is versus what you know and what it looks like underneath the light. So I'm assuming you still go over the same process and still set that expectation, even if they think their vehicle looks flawless, right?
No, so I will not do it over the phone.
Right. Yeah. But you're still
I
setting
will-
that expectation in person, right?
Oh yeah, once they get there, I do a damage report sheet. Like, I'm going to show them, hey,
Ooh.
this scratch is there. Like, you see these swirls. Because my shop, when they pull in, at drop-off time, the sun is right there on the bay doors. And I just pull their car right there, do a full walk around with them. Hey, you told me the paint was in excellent condition. I'm seeing these rock chips. I'm seeing this scratch. I'm seeing swirls. It's all good. And then I'll set the expectation of what the paint enhancement is going to do. But I'll tell you this much. If they think that the paint's in excellent condition and it's not, a paint enhancement to them is they're going to be blown away by it. So if they already think it's in excellent condition and you can tell that they're taking the car through the wash every 2 weeks or every 3 days and they think it's excellent, a good one-step correction, high gloss coating, they're going to be blown away by that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, 100%. It does come down to setting those expectations. And I think that's also, that plays down the road when you get that review from them, right? You set that
Oh,
expectation
yeah.
low and then they're like blown away, even if it is like just a paint enhancement. I'll pass the mic over to Nathan. Nathan, what is up, man? ¿Cómo estás?
I am doing good. How about you guys?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
What's it called? I don't have any questions. I'm just gonna be listening, but it's been going good, Sal. What's it called? We booked another 2 showrooms, so going great. And I had a kind of like my input for Frank on the paint correction and stuff. In the first month that I was doing the packages, like I had like the 7-year, the 5-year, and then the 1-year. And they had all the base price for just the coating. And then if they wanted a correction or paint enhancement, it was a different price. It was like an added $500 for any of those packages, right? I noticed that I was getting a bunch of resistance. Not anyone just wanted a book immediately. What I did different was, once, I think it was attention to details, he said just make 2 packages, one being the best and then one being the most economical. And I did that. I've been doing that, and I've been selling just a whole bunch of the showroom. I think it's more of like making it a lot simpler for the customer, just showing them, look, if you want the whole shebang, inside, outside, making it look really nice, getting the whole paint looking great. And then what I've noticed as well with the 2-step paint correction, it's so easy. One guy is going with the compound, the other guy's going right behind them with the polish, and you get it knocked out in a day. And then the 7-year, and then you do the interior once you have time, right? It's great. It's been going awesome. If they don't want to do that, 1,300 package, we put them for the $699, which is just wash, prep, and coat, $700. You know what I mean? So that's been working for us like phenomenally. So yeah. I think just make it simpler, Frank. I do agree with Khalid that whenever I did it with one customer, he was really wanting just the wash, prep, and coat for $700. He brought in his 89 Marquise. That thing was swirled the heck up. It had a lot of oxidation. I did 3 different sections. So one, I took a picture of doing a 1-step and then doing a 2-step, and then right next to a part where there was nothing done to it, right? So I sent him that, and he immediately chose the 2-step. He had already brought the vehicle in. He already wanted just, the 7-year, $700 package. But as soon as I sent him the picture of the 2-step, he was like, let's do the showroom package. Let's do it. So it's for sure, it's like Khalil's hitting it right on the dot of like, once the customer already brings it in, they're already wanting to pay for at least one of the packages. Why not hit them with trying to get that paint correction? So yeah.
Upgrade them. So that's a great topic of just simplifying your packaging.
Yeah.
So I know some clients have packaging where it's kind of like a build your own packaging, right? They lay out the different years for the different coatings and then the different paint correction types. And they just kind of like, they give that to the customer and let them decide like the package they want to build. But yeah, like Nathan, what you're describing is exactly what we're seeing work the best is like 2 packages, if not 1, but 2 packages, entry level, and then all inclusive, everything like, the full transformation package. That has been working really well because it's so much easier to explain over the phone as to what they're getting, and they can compare both of them. You can almost say like, hey, entry level, you're getting less, but you're also paying less. The high tier package, you're getting more, but you're also, you're paying more. And they can always choose the entry level package to start with. And then Nathan, like you just described, you have the vehicle, you show them what the showroom looks like, and now you can upsell them. So you just doubled the ticket price of that client.
Yes.
Yeah. Khalil, I have a question for you about mobile coatings. So if you have the vehicle, like say you get there, the vehicle's outside, they parked it out there, they left the keys, but say you're not able to get in contact with the owner, how do you go about doing that upsell from there? Do you text them? Do you call them up, say, hey, what does that upsell process look like if that person's not there physically when you're with the vehicle?
Yep. So what I would make sure first is whenever you arrive, no matter what, if they text you the night before, they say, hey, the key's going to be in the gas tank, I'm going to work in the morning. Whenever I get there, I will not touch the vehicle until they've responded to me with something. Hey, just want to let you know I'm here. Please let me know, I'm good to start on the vehicle. And then once they say, hey, I'm good to start, say, great, keep an eye on your phone. I'm going to text you here in a couple minutes just to give you an idea of my thoughts now that I've seen the vehicle. Do whatever you want to do. You can wash the vehicle, get it ready, prep it, whatever. And then you could just like, what was the guy's name who was just talking? But he sent the guy a video or a picture, Nathan. Yep. He sent the guy a picture or a video or something. You could do the same thing. But the thing is, whenever it comes to that, you have to keep in mind that this can raise resistance depending on how well the rapport is before, like, you got there. If it was just like, if this is one of those guys that's like, how much is it? You ask them a question, they're like, look, man, I just want the price. And you give them the price and they say yes, then this is somebody that I would say is like on red alert. I may not want to try to push too hard or try to upsell too hard, but I always want to set the proper expectation, especially if they're not going to be there whenever I'm done. Because if they're not there whenever I'm done, that can create a problem, especially depending on how you're going to take payment. So if they tell me they're not going to be there when I'm there doing the service, I'll ask, okay, great, what time are you going to be home? If it's not a time that is like 20 minutes around the time of I'm going to be done, then I will tell them, great, I'm going to send you an invoice for the rest of the payment right now. Once that's paid, I'm good to go. And they can pay the invoice, because the last thing you want is for you to be done. You let them know that you're done. And then they say something along the lines of, okay, cool, I'll check it out whenever I get home and I'll send you the payment. That's a red flag. Don't do it. You let them know I can't leave till we've been paid. I'll wait here till you get home, and put the pressure on them, because what a lot of people will do, not everybody, but they'll bring something up. Oh, a bird pooped on the car. Like, yeah, it's outside in your driveway for 4 hours after I left. So with the mobile and them not being home, you just have to recognize the hurdles that you're going to be in. One, they're at work. It may take a while for them to get back to you. Two, it could raise resistance if they feel like you're trying to get one over on them because they're not there. People think these crazy things like, oh, this guy's trying to scam me because I'm not here. And you just want to keep an eye out for those things. Just be aware of those types of hurdles. So whenever you approach and try to send the video or whatever, you just got to do it in a way that you're respecting those hurdles that could potentially come, and be prepared for everything after you send a video if you want to upcharge. Now, on something like that, me personally, I probably wouldn't. If I got there, they're not there, I would just let them know, hey, let me know I'm good to start on the vehicle. They say yes, great, I start on the vehicle. And then I can just set the expectation, hey, on the package that you're on, you got a paint enhancement based on the condition of the vehicle. It's going to look amazing, but I do just want you to be aware that some of these deeper scratches and major swirls probably aren't all going to come out, but I'll send you a quick test spot just to show you, and then go from there.
Got it. Okay. So it really does depend on the kind of rapport that you have with that customer before you get to the vehicle, if they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But if they are there and like the rapport is cool, maybe they're more relaxed. That's kind of when
if
you
they're
that
there
approach.
and home, treat it just how we were just speaking. Hey, and y'all go pop inside in the AC for 10 minutes. I'm going to do a test spot, and then do a 1, 2, 3 step test spot and bring them back out. Hey, this is the package you're on right now. It is the 1-step paint enhancement. As you can tell, it's going to look amazing. Once we put the coating on there, it's going to have a little bit more gloss. But I did just want to show you this option of what the potential is for your paint in your vehicle and how good it could look. This is a 2-step correction. It only adds, normally it would be $1,500, but since I'm already here, I'll go ahead and give you a discount. If you wanted to move forward with that package, it'd only be $1,300. But no matter what, whenever you give them the option to upsell, or whenever you give them another option, you always got to let them know. But either way, it's okay. We can stick with the package you already have. It's going to look amazing. Because you don't want to leave them on, this is what the vehicle could look like. It'll look way better, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to do it? Because then they're going to be like, but should I even do the whole thing? Because now, like, is this one not really going to look that good? So you got to leave them on the high note of like, the package you're on is still going to look amazing. It's going to pop. You'll be more than happy with it. But again, just wanted to show you the options.
Yeah. And I noticed that you added like a little out for them, right? You said, but we can still stick to this package. So you're kind of giving them that out of like, hey, it's okay to not upgrade, but
Yep.
you're also setting that expectation for what to expect.
Yep. You always want to let them know it is okay to tell me no. But what's not okay is telling me to leave.
Yeah. Because you're not leaving.
Yeah. I'm not leaving.
And Khalil, with the upselling side, is there like any sort of resistance besides the pricing for the upsell that you've seen or ran into previously?
No, because when the customer arrives or you arrive with them, you want to resell the car to them. Let them know, hey, oh my gosh, I love this vehicle. Like, say something about the vehicle that like is a fine detail. For example, yesterday, the truck I had was a Ford F-150 diesel that was only made for 3 years. I've only seen one of them before. Usually they're all gas. And I just pointed that out. I was like, oh man, this thing's a diesel. That's awesome. What, how do you like it? I bet you get great gas mileage. These things are awesome. And then they get excited about their vehicle, right? Once they're excited about the vehicle, cool, let's do a quick little walk around. As we're walking around the vehicle, compliment the vehicle as well. Oh man, it seems like y'all take great care of this thing. It's not even that dirty. Y'all making my job easy. And then just say, and then the way that I start it is I tell them, great. So now the vehicle's here. What we're going to do, we're going to wash it. We're going to do clay bar, decontamination. We're going to do that one-step paint enhancement and that 3-year ceramic coating on the entire body. Last week or 2 weeks ago from Patrice's call, I stole something from him where he's telling him I'm putting it on everything, the rims, the glass, all of it. So that I changed my package and I'm getting a lot of good feedback from it. And I raised my price, but I added in the rims, I added in the windshield. So now whenever they come, it's getting on the windshield, it's getting on the glass, it's getting on the body, it's getting on the rim. So this whole thing's going to look amazing. But let me ask you this. How do you typically wash the vehicle? Once they say, oh, I take it through the car wash. Okay. How are you going to wash it once we put the coating on it? Oh, well, I plan to hand wash. Okay, cool. So you see all this swirling that's caused by the car wash? They'll say, yeah, I see it. Okay. Well, with the paint enhancement, we're only going to get about 30 to 40% of that out, just depending on how the clear coat's going to react. We'll try to take out as much as we can within the price that you're at. But we also do have another option. We could do a 2-step, which would get you a lot more clarity, a lot more gloss, a lot more pop. But at the end of the day, either package is going to look great. The one that you're on, it's gonna look amazing. But do just want to let you know there is another option. And if they say, nah, let's just stick with that one, cool. Or they'll say, do you really think it'll make that big of a difference? And that's whenever you say, do you got 10 minutes to hang out? And if they say, yep, great, I'm going to pull it in the shop real quick, do a quick test area, and I'll show you the differences, and you tell me which one you want to stick with. Perfect. Now I've got permission to upsell. I've got permission. Yep, show me what the option is. But I need to spark the interest, let them know that there's options, and then have them tell me, yep, go ahead, show me the options. I got 15 minutes before my Uber gets here, and just pull it inside. You do a quick test spot. Once you do the test spot, you bring them out, you bring it back out into the sunlight, and you say, these are the differences. The normal price for the 2 steps, $1,800, but since you're already here, I'll cut you a deal. I'll do it for $1,500. Or we could stick with the package that you're already on. It's $899. It's like, as you can see, it's going to look amazing. Once we add the coating, it'll add a little bit more gloss. But overall, either option's great. Whatever works for you works for me.
Dude, perfect. Perfect, man. Love it. Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to Dan. Dan, how are you, man? How's it going, Dan?
Good, pretty good. A little bit of a lull. For years I see other detailers complaining that, oh, summer's always so slow for me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm jam-packed. I'm like, I'm always booked out. Once the warm weather starts to hit here, I'm booked out 4 months or 4 weeks, easy. But now that I've really kind of changed gears almost and more geared towards more focused on the ceramic coatings and the maintenance detailing, it's quiet. And now I'm like in the same boat with everybody else. I'm like, it's kind of, the phone's quiet. Even though we're running the ads, it's still pretty, it's quieter than what it used to be. I'm still beating last year's numbers, no problem. But it's just kind of, so it's a weird thing to be in that boat. And I don't know if it's, and I know guys that are in that boat, but are busy right now because they started this stuff way before. I didn't start with you until April. And I started even sooner, I probably wouldn't be worried that it's kind of quiet right now. I'm not worried that it is quiet, but still, this is kind of a weird situation to be in. It's kind of different.
Yeah. So
But
Khalil, I'll go ahead and let you or take this one, but I do have something I want to add. And I think I know what you're going to say, Khalil, which I think I can add to afterwards. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think, whenever it comes to just having a little lull, you just got to look at a couple of things. Did you raise prices? Did you change anything with the ads? Did you try new videos? One thing that also can happen is whenever you get jam-packed and you get super busy, the phone gets less attention. The new customers get less attention. The new leads, it's like, oh, I'm booked out for 3 weeks. What do I really need to take this call for? Like, I can miss it. I can finish my lunch and then I can call them back. When in reality, the way that you got to being 4 weeks booked out is by taking the call during lunch and stepping out and like doing what needs to be done to book yourself out those 4 weeks. And then another thing that I would say is don't pay attention to what the other people are doing or saying, like, because at the end of the day, you have your own system, your own process, and your own procedure that you're following, you need to compare to. So these people who, a lot of times what I've noticed is the people who say like, oh, it's slow or whatever. One, they're not spending any money. Two, they're not even like disciplined with an approach. Like they've just kind of got lucky. And now that it's gotten a little bit harder, there's a little bit more competition. They're no longer as lucky. So I would just say, man, like go back and look and say, okay, what was I doing that got me booked 4 weeks? And then just compare and contrast. Say, okay, am I doing that now? If the answer is no, start there. And then once you can say, yep, I'm doing everything that I was doing, then you can kind of start fine tuning and looking at some other things like, marketing budget, thrifting, things like that. But you want to look at your small little disciplines. Say, one thing for an easy one to say is like, whenever I was booked out for 4 weeks, I was waking up at 5:30 in the morning. And then you can look and say, okay, now I've only been waking up at 7 a.m. So it's like those little types of things all play into the success of what you're doing on your day-to-day that gets you booked. And I fall into the same lulls as well sometimes. But my problem is I get too busy where the phone doesn't get enough attention. So I have to step back and say, okay, I got to stop doing what I'm doing and get back to the client in the first 2 minutes. Because right now I'm not doing that, right? And that's what's caused me to be slow. So I don't know if that really helps you out or answers your question, but that's what I would do is I would just look at your little disciplines and get back to them.
Yeah. So just to kind of double click on that, that is a great approach or a good starting point. I would say, and Khalil, I thought you were going to go more into the pricing side, being more flexible with like the different pricing, testing out different pricing depending on, what your schedule looks like. I thought that was the approach, but there's also something that is a little bit more tactical that I'd recommend, which is text blasts. And we can do this for you, Dan, but Khalil, dude, I think Khalil is like the master at this of just being frequent with those text blasts, offering a special discount, that would be an easy yes, just to fill up your calendar. And then
So that would be step 2, would be the pricing
Yes.
approach, the text blast, running a special. And what I would do, like, once you've looked at it and you look in the mirror and fix what you're doing first, then you can, because if you have bad habits, these text blasts aren't going to do anything because you're not going to answer them. But then you can run a text blast like a special. I have 2 that I run. One is I have 2 reschedule spots available. If you're able to fill it, I can give you a discount. And I get a lot of free interest that way. And then the leads are free that way, other than the cost per text. But then you can also do something like a different special. So for example, if you mainly sell 5-year coatings, okay, and you've gotten a little bit slower or whatever, what you can do, and you also have to keep in mind, sometimes people will say no because they're not going to keep the vehicle for 5 years. But you don't know that. They're just going to tell you, okay, no, I'll think about it. But they're going to sell the car in 2 or 3 years, but they don't tell you that. So then what I like to do is I like to run a special for something different than what I offered them. So if I offered them a 5-year coating with a paint enhancement, I'll send them a text blast special for a 3-year coating at a little bit less price, same package as the 5-year, paint enhancement, full body coating, glass, rims, everything, but at a little bit less of a price. Because sometimes, like, it could either be $50 that's holding them back, or it could be $150. And the only way to find that out is offer them a less price and see what they say. Or you can offer them a package that's different. You could just do a wash, prep, decon, 5-year coating, no enhancement, no polish for half the price that you offered them. And then if they respond back and say, what's the difference between the 2 packages? And you explain, well, there's no paint enhancement polish, or there's no paint correction, whatever you're taking out of the package. Once you explain that to them, if they say, well, that is what, I do want that. Say, okay, no problem. And then offer them a lower price. And if they say no, no problem. Move on to the next one. But just re-engage them with some text blasts. You could do that. But the first one I would start with is the reschedule text. If you've never done that, it is great. But I will say that your most bang for your buck is going to come from the recent 2 weeks of leads that did not close. The farther you go back, I've seen that it's a little bit more waste of money. They're not re-engaging. It's already out of sight, out of mind. Whereas if you hit them over the past 2 weeks, so like the past 14 days from yesterday backwards, they'll respond quicker because they're like, oh, I just talked to this guy. I remember him. It was 800. If it was 750, man, I would do it. And then you hit them with, I got 2 reschedules. If you're able to fill it, let's do it. So yeah, I would start with the text blast. Past 2 weeks, reschedule spots available, and you can go anywhere from a $50 to $150 discount, and you'll get a little bit of business. And that's how I like to refill my calendar. If I see it's a little slow or whatever, and I'll tell people, hey, and you tell them the day. They'll say, hey, what's the discount? And I tell them, if you can bring it Monday, and you want to give them during the weekday and a weekend. So you tell them, hey, if you can bring it at Wednesday, 9:45, like a random time, 9:45 in the morning, or Saturday at 9:15, I'll do it for this price. And that gives them, it's a yes or a no. And if they don't answer, you know what the answer is. But if they say, okay, let's do it, cool, I'll send you an invoice for a deposit and we're good to go.
Yeah, I did the text blast before. They do work. It does work. I tried to fill 2 spots a couple of weeks ago. I had 2 open spots during the week, and the previous week before that I ran it and I filled it no problem. So yeah, I was actually thinking about doing those. So yeah, those text blasts work.
So this comes down to discipline as well, right? That's why I mentioned the small disciplines in the beginning, because my text blasts for the reschedules go out the 1st and the 15th. So I make sure I'm hitting everybody from that month. The 1st of the month is the last 2 weeks of the last month, and on the 15th, it's the first 2 weeks of that month. So I'm always hitting everybody. It cycles. First and 15th, send out the text blast, send out the text blast. And even if like one time you get like no answers from those leads for the first those 2 weeks, it has nothing to do with the next leads that you're going to send it to. They don't know each other. They don't know anybody. So like I've even got down on myself. I'm like, man, this didn't work out very well for the past 2 times, but I'm like, they have no earthly idea who the other people are and they haven't talked to them. So who knows? Just send it. And one time you'll get a lot of response. I think one time I booked like 8, then like the next time didn't get any responses. So just stay disciplined to it, keep posting them, and I would do that. Just keep in mind that the farther you go back, the less interest there is.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense. So,
if it's costing you money to send out the email and things like that, keep in mind that there may not be any juice to squeeze from that, and it could cost you some money. So just, look at that for your business and see what's going to be the most bang for your buck.
Yeah, there is Jose in the Facebook group asked, can you recommend a bulk text app? So Jose, if you're watching this, we can send out those text blasts within the high level CRM, within the Detailers Growth CRM. So if you have all of those, Jose, if you have all of those contacts in a different CRM, we can always import them into our CRM, make sure they're tagged a certain way, and then we can send out the text blast within the CRM that we're already using. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to Jeff. Jeff, how are you, my man? Welcome back.
Hey man, I'm good. I just got back from Chicago. I was doing a bunch of work out of town and took a short little vacation there.
Awesome, man.
But I'm good. But yeah, I think I've been trying to put in place just that whole like everything package. I really want to get that going and see how that does and how people react to it. I think that's going to be my next move. And fortunately, so far, staying busy. Like I wasn't even running your ads. I have like, booked a whole week or so out, like here with just, I guess, from Google and referrals and whatever. So I didn't even have to run ads to stay busy for now. So happy about that, but don't really have anything for next week.
Yeah, man. I think having those 2 packages will make it a lot easier to sell and explain over the phone. It's really just like entry-level package, maybe it's just the paint that the coating goes on. And then you can contrast that with the all-inclusive package, which is pretty easy to explain. Hey, you're getting everything, paint, wheels, tires, right? Wherever. But I think you'll find the same thing that Nathan found, which is like, it's a lot easier to explain. And, you're not having to go into too much detail about like, here's the difference between a 1-step and a 2-step over the phone where they can't really see it and visualize it, versus just saying, hey, this package is the all-inclusive package.
Yeah, I really found out like the hard way trying to do that, because it's just like I was trying to start with either something basic or like the build your own style, and it just was like pulling teeth trying to, I guess, like upsell people or get them to spend more money or move them up, instead of like, oh, okay, that's too much, we can move you down. It's so much harder to do, and it's just so much harder. It takes us so much more time to just have to explain every damn thing to people, about why they need to pay you more for this and that. And then some people are like, oh, it's not included. Like they're already expecting everything to be included too. So it's just, I don't know. I guess it just makes more sense to do like everything package,
Yeah, I think when you begin to explain each component of like the different ways they can mix and match and create their own package, they just get overwhelmed. It's super easy for them to get overwhelmed on the phone. They get overwhelmed, confused. And when you're trying to explain that much information over the phone, they're not going to remember it. So when you follow up with them in a couple days, it's like, ooh, can you explain that to me again? And then you kind of have to restart everything back up. Where like the 2 package system, it's entry level and all inclusive, super easy, pretty clear. And instead of like explaining the different variables, now you're just explaining like, hey, the entry level package just goes on the paint. The all inclusive goes on everything, right? From roof to road, you get full coverage. So yeah, less confusion for the customer. I think you're going to find it's going to be a lot more simple for you too, Jeff, just because it's going to be easier to explain. I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to Patrice. Patrice, I see that you are on the road, man. How are you? Are you good?
All right, we're good now.
Okay, awesome, man. How are you?
Good, you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Thank you for joining us. See you're on the road.
Yes, I just came back to the big contractor, so to get window tint contract, I just did. So doesn't take
Nice,
all
man.
that long.
Nice, man. Nice. Awesome, man. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add to today's conversation from like the different kind of questions that people have asked?
No, not really. I think Khalil pretty much filled out all the blanks that needed to be filled, unless anybody has any questions that we might not have touched. But did we touch any pricing? I think we did touch any pricing points. So I know somebody said it's kind of slow for his business right now. I can't remember who that was. Yeah. So do you do any paint protection film in your shop?
No, I don't have the room for it right now. Actually, there is more to my shop, but I just don't have access to that room. Once I do, paint protection film is one of the plans. I was thinking of reintroducing window tint first and then start getting paint protection film back into the game.
Yeah, definitely get your hands on paint protection film when you have a chance, because that'll change your business structure altogether. It's a bit more costly than ceramic coating, but I mean the profit margin is definitely high.
Yep. I've got a few friends that do paint protection film, and it's something, and I get asked it more and more every year that I'm in business. People are asking about it, and there isn't actually anybody that's decent in this area. Literally all the other guys that do paint protection film in this area are I've seen their work. It's not pretty. There's always debris underneath the film. They cut on the cars. They don't do pre-cut stuff, so they're wrapping the edges and everything and making it look really nice. It's just I'm looking forward to when I can start doing, and I'm not going to do the training. What I wanted to do was hire somebody that knows how to do it. And then I just, I supply the materials, the plotter and the space, and they just come in and work.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. But if you're already in demand for that, it means that the clientele is kind of, I don't want to say getting tired of other people's work, but if you have quality work already with ceramic coating and all that, then that's what people are going to be looking in paint protection film as well. But keep in mind that I know in the industry there are a lot of guys that are selling paint protection film jobs as being perfect, no defects, and that's so further from the truth. Paint protection film on its own, it's a gross material that is not perfect. So that's the first thing. Second thing, there is no such thing as a perfect installation. You try to mitigate any dust particles and everything, but I mean, cutting on the paint, that's a big no-no. But at the end of the day, if you have one dust particle underneath the film, it's one, and it's right in the middle of the hood. And I'll be the devil's advocate on here. Okay? If you didn't charge a customer high enough to be able to remove that film off the hood and redo it, then you have two choices. It's either you remove and you bite the bullet, or you call the client and you say, look, there's a dust particle underneath the hood. It's barely visible, but I mean, it's something that you will see. If it's something that will bother you, then we can redo it. But unfortunately, I have to charge you a little bit of an extra to redo that hood. So that's the low end cost of you charging not enough for the job. if you do charge enough for the job and you have enough of your profit margin, then you can actually rip the film off and then redo it. You're still going to eat in your profit margin, but I mean, it's not something that's going to, you're not going to lose any money off of it by doing it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, these are
You
absurd.
have to take that.
These are like this is,
Yeah.
it's like, it's more than it's. Yeah, they're not, there's lots of particles. Like it could have been cleaned up better. I mean, hell, I do window tint better. You know, and only get maybe like one
Yeah,
or
that's why.
two pieces of dust in the window tint, but these guys are, it's very noticeable. And I think what it is, I don't think they're educating their customers, so I don't think their customers realize that, you know, and maybe they're just doing it where it's, no, I'm just going to do a shit job, and hey, that's just the way it is.
That's why guys should go to training and to do the proper job. They need trainers and everything. Go to advanced training, so on and so forth. To get better, to actually get better at what we do. So,
Mhm.
all right.
All right. I'll go ahead and wrap things up there. Patrice, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for coming. Khalil, enjoy your vacation, man.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good week.
Alrighty. See ya.